ago, I listened to a man that I'll call Bill. As I listened to him, I judged, I criticised, and in fact, I can still recall some of the things that I thought. He's up himself. How many of you have thought that about people? And he's a hypocrite. And he's a know-it-all to boot. So how much attention do you think I gave this poor man? Not much. And again, I guess you've never done that. Then I learned that this man was painfully shy. For him to have a conversation with anyone, it took something. And I was completely incorrect in my judgment of him. So much so that I even can now recall the time when I had to shift my view. He came and visited me, this is over 30 years ago, in hospital. And he held my hand as I cried. Him and his wife became really firm friends of my husband and I. And we would often have meals in each other's homes, look after each other's children. And literally we grew old together. How we listen to people determines the relationships that we build. Think for a moment about when you listen to someone through those filters that impact and what impact that had. What did you miss out on? If you're brave enough to acknowledge that you can do this, then you're somewhat in touch with your humanity. What you are prepared to do about it shapes the future and the relationships that you build. So if some of you are a little bit uncomfortable right now and you're wiggling a bit in your chair, good. I keep wiggling that way so that I change the way I listen to people. And it's an ongoing journey for me, and I don't believe it will ever end. Let's talk about slicing through the noise, and there's plenty of it at the moment. And what filters that we're listening through and what impact that actually has. So I guess you're interested because you're here. And I'm interested, and our team is interested in why you are here. So we are going to send you to another breakout room so you can really get to know the people that you're with this morning. And in your breakout room, what we'd like you to do is to introduce yourself, your name, your company, and what city you're in. What's drawn you to this topic? Or has anyone ever said to you, you're not listening? And you became defensive. I am? What do you mean? I heard what you said. So, what's your response when people say things like that to you? So off you go with your moderator and answer that question. Thank you. Oh, everybody's back apparently. This technology is still a bit of a wonder to me. And I think we're really clever, well, Jay is, in actually managing how we do it all. So, how many of you have been told, you're not listening to me? Let's have an indication of your hand, okay? You're not listening, okay? You kind of don't quite get it. You go, I thought I was. The last time I was listening, I heard what you said. And then you're a real smarty pants. You can repeat back to them exactly what you said. And therefore, you were listening, weren't you? How come they said, you're not listening to me? If they get that, what were you listening for? So I want to talk about the filters, the default filters that we listen through. So it's something that we have running in the background. And when we listen to people, we listen to them through that filter. And it determines our response and theirs. They say, "You're not listening to me." And you go, "I am. Let me just tell you what you just said." I'm the only one who would behave like that. You're all perfect, I know. So we do this, hey? And I can see some of you really grinning here and you go, "Oh yeah, that's me, help." Right? Truth is, we're not even consciously aware of those filters. And those filters determine our response and how we foster relationships. So let me talk about those filters. So we look at people and we listen to them through they're wrong or they're right. And has this ever come out of you? "You're wrong." "No, you're wrong. What's the matter with you? Didn't you listen to me before?" So, and then we'll go, "Oh," and some of you have even sat here this morning and this is your mental dialogue that you don't even realize that you're doing. Oh, that's good what she just said. Oh, that's really good." And then the next second you go, no, I don't like that. That is stupid. And then you say, "Oh, I agree with that. That's really good. That's so smart." And the next minute you go, "No, I disagree with that." What would she know? She hasn't obviously read that article that I read and she doesn't know about that. And then the next thing you say, "That's right. That's really good. You go tell them, girl, because if they heard that, then they'd get it." And then the next thing that you think is, "Oh, that's false. No, God, she's got that one wrong. Can't she figure that one out?" So if you look at the slide that's up there next to me, you can see we're either thinking through filters of wrong or right, good or bad, true or false, I agree with you or I disagree with you, I like or dislike what you said, and then I can add some, "You're just plain stupid." Right? And the other one that I have was, "Oh, they're really smart." Because if they're really smart and they're friends with me, that makes me smart, doesn't it? We are really mixed up here. And we're not even consciously aware that that is what we're doing. We're just doing it. Some of you have decided if I'm very intelligent or stupid. Either one, you've already decided. You actually decided when I first started to speak, doesn't she? Why is she wearing that? And what's that background that's going on over there? And how come we've got 4 people at the same beach? Like, all of that, And, why is Anita's picture matching her jacket? Like, that's really weird, right? All of that goes on. And we're not even consciously aware that we're not listening to people. We're judging, assessing, criticizing, and doing whatever else is going on inside of our heads. And if you were at last fortnight's, webinar, we did the power of staying in the present. So we're not even present. That's why we can't listen. So it's a really powerful thing. If you think about Bill, what chance did Bill have in getting a relationship with me if I listened to him through, "You're a hypocrite and you're a know-it-all and you're just wrong, and what comes out of your mouth is just plain stupid"? Now, remember I said, if you're brave enough and have enough courage, you'll admit that that's what we do as human beings. I know that I can still do that, and I constantly having to catch myself and go, "Hey, Jennifer, this is a human being in front of me who is committed to doing the very best that they can." So the only thing I know is that when we listen through these filters, we miss out on the riches of relationship. If that brave man that came and sat at my bedside had not done that, I would have missed out on one of the greatest friendships I ever had. That was his gift to me. Well, who are you? And I know that I can still diss people off. I go, yeah, gone. And I have to claw my way back. So how many of you are clawing your way back in relationships? So I'm going to send you out to another breakout room because we like you to chat to each other, because I actually don't know everything. I pretend I do sometimes, but not often. And I kind of know that there is a collective intelligence inside of this group of people that will come up with things that are really powerful. So what we want you to do is I want you to go and, as Tama says to me, cough up a lizard, Jennifer. Tell them the truth about who you are, the really dark side. So you're going to go and cough up a lizard with that little group of people, and seeing that you don't know most of them, it's pretty good. You can really tell them the truth. What is the thing that you do to diss people off? What's the filter that runs your show? Off you go. Welcome back. So, what filters run your show? And what nasty pasty can you be in thinking in your head while someone's attempting to say something to you? So what runs my show is that you're wrong and I'm right. Imagine talking to me when I have that as an opinion. And then I can really send it somewhere. I can go, I listen, or you're wrong, and now you're stupid. And you're just an uninformed ignoramus. And why don't you go do some reading? Because you're an idiot. Now, on the bright side, who would like the bright side of all of this? On the bright side of how I do listen, like I have a keen ear and I've developed it, and I can tell when the words that come out of someone's mouth is irresponsible. I have a really keen ear for it. And Alison said to me just recently, she said, yeah, your ear is so keen on irresponsibility that you come in that fast that people just think that you just wipe the floor out from underneath them because I'm quick. I can hear it. And the reason why is it took a lot for me to learn to be responsible. It took years for me to really understand what it meant to be truly responsible. So those of you who are clients and have seen some of our flip charts, etc., my responsibility flip chart about what side of the line you're living on is probably one of the most famous ones out there in the training world. And when I wrote it, it was for me. Forget about you guys. I wrote most of that stuff for me because I couldn't get out of my own way. So how do we get out of our own way in this one? And I did make a mistake. I was supposed to ask you 2 questions that you had to answer in the last breakout. So I'm going to send you again to the next one, right? And that was my little blurb to sort of put a little bit between 2 questions. I thought that was pretty cool. Now you say, oh yeah, she's good, eh? That's how you think, right? That's what we do. So here's my next question for you. If that is how we listen as human beings, and it's what we've been trained to do, it's what we've been nurtured into, there is the next horrible question that you need to answer. And I'll send you to your breakout room for this one. And just moderators, just quickly get everyone's quick take on it. All right. What do you get out of listening this way? There's a payoff. What is it? Off you go. Welcome back. Okay. So did some of you get down and dirty? Right. What is it that keeps us doing what we're doing, and what is its impact? I'd like you to consider this. There is no wrong or right, good or bad, whether you disagree or agree, whether it's true or false, whether you like it or don't like it. It actually doesn't matter. And for those of you who have been in any of our programs, you would have heard our associates say, when someone says, I don't agree with you. And we go, we don't care. And people go, what? What do you mean? You're wrong. And then we go, yep, we don't care. Whether you agree with us or disagree with us, whether you like it or dislike it, whether anything else that's going on inside your head, we actually don't care. And if you can get to that place, you get some freedom. Then you start talking about what is rather than what's going on. Now, let's talk about why we do what we do, why we listen through those filters. Consider that it's inside of all of your judgments, criticisms, assessments, and being petty. I use that word deliberately, petty. It's a horrible word. To even admit that when we're wanting to drive that point for ourselves in making someone wrong or right is petty, rather than building relationship and cutting through that noise. Also, how many of you came up with, if we're listening that way to people, it's all about us looking good so that they can look bad. And then you don't even want to admit that that's what we're doing. As long as I look good, and really, if you look bad, that's okay too. And then, you can get all transformed and say, oh no, I'm not like that. It's only about us both being good. Yeah, right. Don't think so. Right? So if there is no good or bad in the world, then your looking good can only end up with someone else looking bad. And then consider it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So it's all about you're looking good and they get to look bad, and that's really good for you. And then you avoid looking bad. So as long as we listen like this, then we drive literally with the handbrake on. Oh, we'll eventually get to where we're going. We'll burn a lot of rubber along the way. And the real downside of it, we miss out. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't challenge nonsense. So as leaders at the moment, how much nonsense are you hearing coming out of some of your people's mouths? Heaps of you, you're hearing a lot of nonsense, right? So it doesn't mean you don't challenge nonsense and rubbish and good grief, get a grip on yourself, right? And that's not true. And how do you cut across it? What do you need to do and say to make a difference? Now, I want to give you one of our really cool little lessons. And this particular lesson has you look at people and listen to them differently. It will shift the filter that you're listening through. So we call it the 3 C's of listening. When people are talking, have you ever had someone come in and they complain? How many of you have got complainers in your business? They complain about everything. Everything's wrong. Everything's bad. And you just want to do this. Right? Why don't you be quiet? And, we could say that really rudely and crudely if we like. Just give me a break. Like that. So, this is what's actually happening for people when they are doing their complaining. If we as leaders can ask some questions, and the thing that I want you to think about is when someone is complaining, sitting below the complaint, so there's the complaint, and then sitting just below the complaint is something that they're concerned about. And that concern is actually driving the complaint. How many of you kind of getting something here? The concern is driving what's coming out of their mouth. And you want to go, be quiet. How do you cut across it and get to what they're worried about? And it's as simple as, hey, what's bothering you? What are you worried about? Because the concern drives the the complaint. Then they'll tell you, no, I'll worry about this and that and the other thing. And okay. Then you want to get to what's below the concern. Consider that people complain about the things that they are worried about because they can't meet a commitment, a promise that they've made. They don't even realize that that's why they're complaining. They're worried, I can't get that done. So what I'll do is I'll complain about the lack of resources, there's not enough of this, you're not doing that, yada, yada, yada. Who's getting something out of this? You can hear it in how people speak to you. If you started to listen to them from what are they committed to, then you can take them down through the layers. They start complaining, and all you need to do is to say, hey, what are you worried about? Okay, so what is the thing that you think you can't get done because of that? And they'll tell you. You go, okay, so what are we going to do about that? Otherwise, we'll go straight to our filter and listen through them through a filter of, God's truth, I just don't like what's going on around here. Or you're so wrong and you're bad. And I completely disagree with this complaint. And I notice that when I can go through what is bothering you, why are you worried? And then I get what they're committed to. A whole raft of freedom comes out of that. How many of you have heard a new way to listen to people here? And it's so powerful. So I told Alison I was going to share a story about her because, my team and I, we produce lots of stories for each other about how we do stuff, right? And I remember years ago when an associate first comes on with integrity and values, right? There's a huge, rigorous training program that they go through. And in the first couple of years that Alison, and I've been through this with every single one of them, came into our organisation. So for those of you that you know that this Filters of Listening lesson is part of the fundamental lessons inside of our online learning platform. Anyway, to be able to present these lessons and run a program in our business, you've got to pass off on these lessons. You actually have to be able to tell, as Tama always says to me, cough up a lizard about yourself. You've got to be able to tell the truth about you and then enroll people in a way that they could actually listen. Anyway, I just recall her being just complaining about the resources, about what she had, about how disorganized the manual was, and everything except the thing that she was committed to. Because people become really afraid of not meeting their commitments. And it comes out as a complaint. So in the end, I just, I lost it. And I went, what the heck's the matter? Right? It's not like you're intelligent enough. Can you do this? So, because what was running if I said that? She's stupid. Really? But no, I don't say that. You're intelligent enough, but actually I think you're stupid, right? That's not the truth though. Anyway, all came out. She was really worried that if she didn't pass all these lessons, she wasn't going to have a job with us anymore. And that was actually the truth. You got to get this done. Otherwise you don't work here. And we hadn't talked about it. Once we talked about it, guess how fast she got through all signing off? Within a week, she'd signed them all off. It was extraordinary. As long as I entertained the complaint, I never got to what she was actually committed to, that she loved the work, she wanted to be here, and she wanted to get it done. Now, I got her permission to tell this story. Why? She's a master facilitator coach with integrity and values. And she'll tell this story herself. And she's not here. I mean, she is here, but I'm telling the story. How many of you just got a whole level of how we listen to people? Because I listened to the complaint for weeks. I even had Jay say to me, I think she's just a complaint on a stick. Right? And I went, no, I don't think so. But it takes something, doesn't it, to break through our way that we do things. Now, if we had not cut across that and found a new way to listen, we would have lost one of the most powerful people in our business. And many of you have been coached and have programs run by her. What would we have lost out on and missed out on if we weren't willing to do that work? So what are you missing out on because you won't cut through your own noise in your own head? Then you can cut through theirs. You can't cut through theirs until you cut through your own. And I don't like to admit that I let her suffer that long because I couldn't figure it out either. So, yeah, what am I doing now? Oh, next. This is new for me. I'm going, what am I supposed to do now? Okay, we'll talk about new filters of listening, okay? And we want to challenge you. I want to give you a challenge. Who's up for a challenge? Like, you know, you've got enough challenges right now, haven't you? Just one more, right? Like, let's just deal with everything that's going on in the world of business, and Jennifer's going to give us another challenge. So here's a challenge for you. I want you to, there's two slides, I'll call them slides, are going to come up. And we want you to choose a new way of listening, okay? And these are new filters for listening. So you can listen with nothing is wrong. Yeah? So you can listen from that space. You can listen with curiosity. So what's going on over there? You can listen for someone's intention. Like, what is it that they're intending here? Hang on. No, it's not changed. What happened? That's the wrong slide. Sorry, I'm just having a little technical breakdown here. It's supposed to look like that. What happened? Okay, it doesn't matter. We'll just do these. I don't know what happened. All right, so I'll just have a little technical breakdown over here. And you know, my filters are going off like, how the hell did that happen? And why can't we get things right around here? So there you go. So that's how automatic it is. Like, can't we get things right? We look like idiots in front of everybody, and I'm supposed to look good, not bad around here. Everyone getting how this is so automatic? And then I have to be like, okay, it's all right. There's nothing wrong. Or maybe go to the first one. There's nothing wrong and it's all right. So in that moment, pulling ourselves back out is one of the hardest things to do. So these are the lists. This is a list of how you could listen instead of inside of good, bad, right, wrong, and all those other ways, whether I like it or dislike it, whether I agree or disagree. You could choose one of these ways to listen. And if you did that, what would happen? So in our next slide, right, I want you to take a photo of this. So take a photo of the first slide, the one on how to choose how you're going to listen. Everyone, take a photo. Quick, very good. Now take a photo of the next one, because this is your homework. Everyone taking a photo of the first one? Say yes. All right, now the second one. Now take a photo of this one. Now here's your homework. Get a buddy. So those of you who've been in our programs or still in our programs, you have a buddy, hey? And a buddy is someone who listens to you through a filter of there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with them. Nothing. This is the person that believes in you more than you believe in yourself. So get a buddy. Then teach them what you just learned this morning about the filters of listening. Our first lesson in our 17 lessons is teach once, learn twice. Every time you teach something, it deepens your understanding. Just doing this lesson again for this webinar gave me a whole bunch of things about how I do things and how I do my listening. Then for 21 days, how many days? 21. If you miss a day, you start again at 1. So don't miss a day. Now, you don't have to do weekends. How's that? But 21 days, you're going to do this. You're going to send an SMS to your buddy that says, I am going to listen through this filter today. So remember, it's what you are going to listen through. Like that is the filter that you'll now listen through. So let's say that you listened through nothing is wrong. Yeah? Then how you listen to people changes. Or if you listen to learn, I'm going to learn something from what they have to say here. And you may even just learn that they need some correction. I need to redirect them. Or acknowledgement. I'm going to acknowledge what they're doing. When you choose a new way to listen, your whole world will change. Your whole world will change. How people view you will change. So put your hand up if you're willing to take on this challenge. I like it. Everybody said yes. We're going to write to you and go, how you going? How many times have you restarted? That's cool. Restarting is actually great. I think I had a 90-day challenge once and it took me 4 years to get it done in 90 days. Because every time I'd miss a day, I go, okay, I'll go again. That's all right. It's not about how many times we fall over in our learning process. It's how many times we get up and go again. So in our world today, we can truly affect what happens inside of our lives and our businesses by what we listen for. Lately, I've chosen to listen through the noise by listening with compassion and ruthless compassion. I have been ruthless in some of my conversations, and we've both grown from it, sprinkled with what's possible now. So for me, I listen for that at the moment. I can be ruthlessly compassionate and very, very straight, and it's sprinkled with, so what now? Given the world as we know it has made a fundamental shift, things are different. One of my great clients said to me a few weeks back, when things go pear-shaped, Jennifer, great people get awesome and poor performers get worse. How we listen to both of those people could change their world and ours. Thank you for being here and listening this morning.